today I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona with Darlene and Richard Lyons and their two beautiful children in a 1,000 square foot garden with 80 fruit trees in the desert. And we're going to talk about how you can grow fruit trees in the desert, right? I mean, you had to learn how to do that.
We did have to learn how to do it. We started in a house with regular gravel and drip systems. And it was very difficult to do. And we're lucky enough to move to a house that has flood irrigation. It's an acre, and so we have water rights to a well, and we get flooded twice a month in the summertime and once a month in the winter. And as a result, it's very easy to grow fruit trees here. All right, so we're on the upper yard, and the irrigation comes from the front yard through the fence to the side of our house. And once it gets above this level of the brick, then you can see there's a pipe down there, and it goes down the pipe and down to the lower yard where all our big lawn is, and a whole lot of our fruit trees,
And it floods the whole area.
It gets all filled up. When we get irrigation, we probably have 6-8 inches of standing water down back.
The ground gets deeply saturated, and that's how you can grow these amazing trees in such hot temperatures, right? Our area is 270 acres, and there are a whole lot more old growth trees here than other parts of Phoenix. And in fact, in the summertime, if you drive with the windows down, when you drive into our neighborhood, it really does feel cooler. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have time to garden. Now, you're a full-time lawyer?
I'm a lawyer, yeah.
And are you working as well?
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, so who does most of the gardening?
So I'll do big projects on the weekend. I'll build the chicken coop, but the day-to-day is Darlene, and she's very good.
Yeah.
I do all the weeding.
You said you had a tortoise, but you sold it.
I did. She was more of a bulldozer. She would just bulldoze any new little plant that would come. So we found her a great home with lots of grass.
Oh, good.
Grass.
Excellent.
We tried goats.
Oh.
They want to eat everything but the weeds.
Well, you know, if you have something tastier, they will. And the dogs don't bother your veggie garden?
It's fenced.
Yeah.
Good.
I built that. I built that too. I built the garden.
Oh, good.
Yeah. The heavy lifting, that's me, but planting the seeds and harvesting and drying and all that stuff, that's Darlene.
Are you starting seeds in trays, or are you?
I'm not. I do it straight into the ground.
Not everything you can do that way.
True.
Tomatoes, peppers.
I've done tomatoes.
You
I
have? That's amazing. Well, I guess she has a green thumb.
She does have a very green thumb.
At
yes.
times, not always.
Yeah.
I've pulled a lot of things too. And it's when you see one limb just die for no apparent reason. And if you look towards the trunk, you'll see some sap oozing from an entry point from the peach tree borer.
Now, is the peach tree borer big enough for you to see? How big is that?
The wasp-like creature is about 2 inches, so it's pretty large.
Wow.
I have never seen the larva.
Oh, so it's the larva is the borer.
The larva is what.
So, is it going to kill this whole tree?
No, it'll just kill a branch. I contacted the Maricopa Cooperative Extension Garden, and the master gardener said just let it be.
So you're not going to worry about this. You're going to cut this branch. And what happened to the borer? Is it gone?
It's flying around somewhere.
Okay. All right. How many peach trees do you have?
I think maybe 20. So
okay. She doesn't have to worry.
We have 5 of these compost bins. We move them around all the time. We add all the vegetation, all the extra produce, coffee grounds, half-drank bottles of wine, and beer. We really keep them active, and we get really, really good soil, and we just add it to the garden. And
so, do you have those drilled in the bottom as well?
The bottom is
completely open?
It's completely open. In the summertime, these cook. They get so hot that it turns all this organic matter into compost very, very quickly. And so we'll make compost. It'll take 2.5-3 months, and then we'll put it wherever in the yard that we want to. And when we move these cans to a different part of the yard, the soil underneath
Where it's been.
The bin is so dense and rich and organic. It's completely different than the soil even 2 feet away from it.
So do you try to turn that with the pitchfork?
My wife turns it with the pitchfork.
I work it in quarters. I think of it as 4 quarters, so I try to flip it.
That is just the richest
That's amazing
compost
stuff.
you can imagine. It's a little bit a ways from,
it's
from
not
being
quite
totally
there.
broken down, but we're
Right.
probably only a couple of weeks away.
I use it.
Okay, what were you saying?
I use the used chicken shavings in the compost. That adds a lot of the nitrogen and it heats it up really fast.
And what do you
So-
feed your chickens?
I feed them fruits, veggies.
Obviously.
They eat grubs, they eat worms. They also eat a pelletized feed too.
Yeah.
We'll just lift the can off and we'll have, maybe a cubic yard of really, really good compost. We'll move it into the garden or underneath the tree and move the bin somewhere else and start over again.
So these pine needles naturally mulch your
They'll
veggie
mulch.
garden.
Yeah, and now a lot of the compost that Darlene makes ends up in this garden, but you can see when we get flood irrigation, it's at the right level, so these, I don't know what they're called, the
Trenches?
Trenches. Yeah, so the water will come through the trenches, and so twice every month in the summertime, our garden gets completely flooded just through flood irrigation. You can see we have a drip system here, but we really don't have to use it all that much. It gets such a good soak with our irrigation that I don't think Darlene turns it on all that much.
How do your neighbors feel about your homestead here?
They love it.
We give vegetables away when we have a lot.
Yeah?
I walked up and down the street giving away big zucchinis. We'll get probably 3,000-4,000 apricots, buckets and buckets and buckets, and so we give them all away.
How long have you been doing this garden experiment?
I would say here at this residence, probably 3 years, and lifelong, about 8 years. And it has the potential to have a horse if we ever have a horse. But now gardens are taking over the yard.
We were looking for a house, and this was the right part of town for us. And I walked through the house and saw this yard, and I didn't care what the house looked like.
Rather than having a horse now, I think that you're going to have like a race track. I think it sends a much more positive message to have a garden.
Yeah. The kids are out here with Darlene all the time.
I mean, just the bugs alone are such an education.
We love bugs. Lizards.
Do you have a lizard?
In the yard, we have lots of lizards.
Wade catches them. When I say he catches, I know he's caught at least one.
You know, I mean, you could grow a lot of corn out here, but you don't want to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I take stuff to my office all the time, and our neighbors get fruits and veggies all the time.
Are you compelled to plant yet another fruit tree and another fruit?
Oh, yeah.
You are.
Oh,
See?
yeah.
It's avocado that has to have shelter, right?
Yes.
In the desert.
We've tried and failed with avocados before.
Well, you've got to have a canopy.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the way
hard.
I understand it.
This is the Snow
These are
Queen
beautiful.
nectarine. And I have had nectarines off of it, but it is a bit protected from the other trees, and it gets protection from the pine from
Which
the
is-
late afternoon sun. which
Oh,
I
and
think
here's your
helps.
moringa. That's blooming.
It died back pretty good the first year we had it, but it's really, really big now. We want to have more going up and down. Well, I don't know how many more, but a few at least.
Fodder for animals.
Yeah.
It's really good for animals. You
And
can
I-
feed it to horses, cows.
And also, isn't it great mulch for your garden?
Deciduous trees, when they shed their leaves, we just let them stay on the ground and get into the ground and naturally mulch. Our neighbors will pick up leaves, and we never do. We don't have our lawn guy pick up clippings or anything. We want the natural mulch all the time.
So, do you feel that you still need a lawn guy?
Oh, I need a lawn guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think our lawn guy gets slightly annoyed when we plant more stuff because it's harder to turn around.
Another obstacle.
So we just voluntarily start paying more.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the biggest fascination, or what is your word for when you fall in love with growing fruit trees?
You know what? It becomes a very inexpensive and peaceful hobby to have. There's nothing nicer than I work all day during the week, and to come home in the evening and do a little gardening or a little work on the trees or projects in the yard, I really love it. And on the weekends, and my kids help me, it's just a really fun outdoor activity and a good stress reliever.
That's awesome. And not to mention all that great fruit.
We make smoothies all the time.
I mean, you must have something right almost all the time.
A few more trees. I just need a few more trees, just a few more, and then that will be true.
We'll get a few more, and they'll be great. The stone fruit comes so quickly, and it's just gone. It's actually, we have 2 weeks of apricots, and then in another couple weeks we'll have a couple weeks of plums. And then another couple weeks later, we'll have peaches and nectarines.
So you have about a 2-week break and just enough time to kind of get like unsick of apricots, and you're going, wow, wouldn't it be great to have some plums?
And suddenly we have buckets and buckets of plums.
Plums, yeah. Is this a desert fig?
It is unknown. It was here when we bought the property.
That's kind of interesting. So we just met Darlene this morning at Greg Peterson's workshop for growing fruit trees in Arizona. So we said, hey, we want to come over and see your garden. And you said to your friend,
I said, it's not finished.
and how many times have I said on Late Bloomer that a garden is never finished and it's never perfect. But it's always so inspiring to see what people are doing, and what a positive example you're setting for your neighbors. Right? And maybe you'll get some of them to do it too.
They've started a garden across the street.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's so great to meet you.
Thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you for having us over.
We really enjoyed it.
Nice to meet you, Darlene. So check out our vlog on Late Bloomer, and stay tuned for more gardens in Phoenix. It's just a revolution, right? I mean, so many people are doing it.
It is.
Wow, I may have to stay here for a while.
You should.